Is Samsung really playing it safe or just falling behind? If you've been waiting for a big battery upgrade on the next Galaxy Ultra, you might want to lower your expectations. Because according to a very reliable source, the upcoming Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra will once again have, you guessed it, the same 5,000 mAh battery. Let's be honest, battery life is one of the biggest things we care about in a phone. It decides how long we can scroll, stream, take photos, or just get through the day without running to a charger. So you'd expect that phones would be getting better and better at this, right? Well, that's not what's happening with Samsung's top-tier phones. The Galaxy S26 Ultra, expected next year, is rumored to come with the same 5,000 mAh battery as last year. And even if Samsung does decide to bump it up slightly, the source says it'll still be under 5,400 mAh. Now let's talk about why this matters. Other companies, especially some Chinese brands like Xiaomi and Oppo, are now putting 7,000 mAh batteries into their phones. That's nearly 40% more power than what Samsung's Ultra model will offer. Even more interesting, they're using new dense battery technologies. These batteries don't take up more space, but they pack in more power. Meanwhile, Samsung seems to be moving at a much slower pace. Some people believe this is because of the Galaxy Note 7 incident from years ago, where phones were catching fire due to battery problems. Samsung has since been extra careful. And maybe that's a good thing. Safety first, right? But at the same time, the competition isn't waiting around. It's not just the Ultra model. The recently discussed Galaxy S25 Edge reportedly has a 3,900 mAh battery, and the upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to come with just 4,400 mAh. That's pretty low, especially for phones with big displays and high refresh rates. And let's not forget charging speeds. While phones from brands like Realme and OnePlus can charge up to 120 watts, Samsung is sticking with 45-watt wired charging, the same as before. That means it will take noticeably longer to fully charge your phone. So what's the strategy here? Why aren't Samsung, Apple, or even Google pushing harder on battery improvements? One big reason is market demand, especially in the United States. Chinese phone makers who offer these better batteries don't sell as many devices in the US, so brands like Samsung and Apple don't feel much pressure to match them. Instead of putting bigger batteries inside, Apple is reportedly working on software-based solutions to stretch battery life. One of these is expected to be called Apple Intelligence, which might come with the next iPhones. But at the end of the day, it's still not a real hardware upgrade. And speaking of Apple, there's talk of a new iPhone 17 Air that will focus on being slimmer. Have you ever seen a company leak its own products by accident? Well, that's exactly what just happened with Samsung. And no, it wasn't a hidden tweet or an accidental image. This time, Samsung confirmed the names of its upcoming foldable phones through its own app. Yup, Samsung kind of spoiled its own surprise. Let's break down what happened. For months now, people have been talking about Samsung's next foldable phones, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and the Galaxy Z Flip 7. We've seen leaks, heard rumors, and even some wild guesses, like a possible Ultra version of the Fold. But nothing was official, until now. What gave it away? The answer is almost funny. The Samsung Internet Browser app. A beta version of this app showed up on the Galaxy Store recently. And if you read the app's description, it clearly mentions that it's made for the Fold 7 and Flip 7. That's right. Samsung just confirmed the names of the two new foldables inside its own app. This was first noticed by the people over at Galaxy Club, and yes, the listing was still live at the time they reported it. But there's a catch. You can't see this if you're using just any Samsung phone. You need to be running One UI 8, which is currently in beta and only available on the new Galaxy S25 phones. So, most people wouldn't have seen this unless they were part of the beta. But clearly, someone at Samsung didn't think curious users would go poking around in the Galaxy Store. Now, this leak does a few things. First, it confirms the official names, Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Galaxy Z Flip 7. These names were expected, but now we know they're real. Second, it pretty much shuts down the idea of a Fold Ultra. Some people believed Samsung might release a higher-end version of the Fold, possibly with more features, a bigger display, or even a better camera setup. But this leak makes it clear that the Fold 7 and Flip 7 are the main stars for now. That Ultra teaser Samsung dropped a while back, probably just clever marketing. Now, what can we expect at Samsung's next big event? If all the reports are right, Samsung is planning its Summer Unpacked event for early July. There's no confirmed date yet, but it could happen in New York, like some of their past launch events. At that event, we'll likely see the Galaxy Z Fold 7, Z Flip 7, and maybe even a more affordable Galaxy Z Flip 7 FE, possibly a fan edition model. There's also talk about Samsung working on a tri-folding phone, something with 3 parts that fold out. That device might only launch in China and South Korea at first, though, and just for fun. Imagine if the actual unpacked date ends up leaking through another Samsung app. Let's hope they're a bit more careful next time. What if your next iPhone could run faster, use less battery, and stay cooler, all at the same time? Sounds like a dream, right? But according to new leaks, Apple might actually be getting close to making it happen with the iPhone 18 Pro. And the secret lies in something you can't even see: the A20 chip. Let's break it down in simple terms. We haven't even seen the iPhone 17 yet, but the iPhone 18 is already stealing some of the spotlight. It's expected to launch in 2026, and if these rumors are true, it could be one of Apple's biggest upgrades in years. Now you might be thinking, didn't the iPhone 17 already get a redesign? And didn't the iPhone 16 bring some chip changes? Yes, but the iPhone 18 Pro might go way beyond that. According to analyst Jeff Pugh, Apple's working on a brand new chip called the A20. This chip is expected to be built using Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's 2-nanometer process. That's smaller than any iPhone chip we've seen before. Just to compare, the chip in the iPhone 15 Pro, the A17 Pro, uses a 3-nanometer process. Even the upcoming A18 and A19 chips will still stick to that same 3-nanometer tech, just more refined versions. But the A20, it's different. It's smaller, faster, and more efficient. In fact, this 2-nanometer chip is rumored to be 15% faster and could use up to 30% less power than the previous chip. That means better performance without draining your battery as quickly. Imagine using your phone for longer, even while doing heavy tasks like gaming or video editing. And there's more. The A20 might also come with a totally new chip layout, something called Wafer-Level Multi-Chip Module, or WMCM for short. In simple terms, this means the memory, the part that helps the phone run apps smoothly, could be placed much closer to the processor itself. What's the benefit? Less distance for data to travel means faster speeds and less heat. This could also help the iPhone run cooler, which usually means better battery life too. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Jeff Pugh believes this A20 chip won't just power the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. It might also be used in Apple's first foldable phone, expected to be similar to the Galaxy Z Fold models. Imagine that. A foldable iPhone powered by one of the most efficient and powerful chips Apple has ever made. Of course, not everyone agrees. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo earlier said that all iPhone 18 models would have this 2-nanometer chip, but later, he changed his view, saying it will likely be just for the Pro models. Here's why this chip upgrade matters so much. Not just because it's faster. Honestly, most flagship phones are already super fast. What really makes a difference in everyday use is battery life and how cool your phone stays, even under stress.